Let me just scoot back together one.
Okay.
Rece feels like this is one big full day ad for the University of Colorado. Have you seen something like this before? And what are your thoughts on just Coach Prime's impact overall the first few weeks here?
Well, we haven't spoken of Colorado very often on the show since I've been on. I'm in my 9th year now, and really haven't talked about them a lot in my 20 plus years of covering college football at ESPN in the studio. Maybe right around 2000, 2001, they had some good teams. And the fact that they are the #1 story of the first 2 weeks of the season speaks for itself. I called a game here probably in 2013 or 14 on a Thursday night, and you could have thrown rocks into the stadium and not hit anybody. And to see it be full as it was last week against Nebraska, I think is great evidence of the impact that Deion and his entire staff have had on this university and this program, and sort of resurrecting a proud tradition here. And they've been sensational. I didn't have any doubt that he would do a great job. What has surprised me is how quickly he has put these guys together. Now there are much larger tests ahead. Obviously, the next 2 weeks they should win Saturday night, and that's a different challenge in and of itself. I think they're the biggest favorite. Their biggest favorite tomorrow night since 2018. So, that's a different challenge, but how quickly they've put it together and built a connection among the players and the fans and staff is really, really impressive.
So you knew Deion was going to kind of change the culture coming into Colorado. What was kind of your predictions going into the season for this team?
Not what they've done so far. I thought that they would be very fortunate to win more than one game in September. What I said in the preseason is that I thought that they would be a team that would get better and would clip one or two teams closer to the end because of their improvement. The fact that they came out of the gate and got TCU and then just hammered Nebraska was really, really impressive. Maybe those teams aren't great. Doesn't matter. Colorado wasn't great last year either, and I understand new coaches, new players, and all of that, but it takes a little while. And they have accelerated that learning curve beyond what anyone could have imagined, I think. Except maybe them. They believed it.
What do you think this is going to do for recruiting next year's class? I know we're looking into the crystal ball a little bit, but given all the pub that Deion's getting, what do you think that's going to mean when it comes time to getting kids signed up?
You're about my age, I think. I don't know how we are, but no, I'd say
30.
Oh, 30. So we're in 30. So when we were very little kids, think back over the course of us growing up. Has there been a more charismatic figure in athletics than Deion Sanders? People loved to watch him. When he was on television, he's engaging. People loved to listen to him. And now that he's a coach, I think players are going to want to play for him. The thing is, the great thing about him, and I have a couple of good friends who are assistant coaches under him, is he's tough, man. He's a hard rear end. I would say that right way for television. You're going to do it his way, and you're going to do it right. And he's not just going to attract good players. He's going to attract good players who want to work hard and want to be taught and want to develop and want to do it his way. And I think that bodes very well for their recruiting classes and for the future and their move to the Big 12. I think, a little bit off topic, but I think they have a great opportunity here, along with Utah, to go into the Big 12 with Texas and Oklahoma leaving. Both of those programs have been terrific programs, but they've never really been the cornerstone programs of their conferences, right? And there's a chance. The door is open right now for those two particularly to be one of the big dogs in their new conference. And I think a great recruiting classes certainly will put them in good position to do that.
Why does he scare some other fellow coaches in this success coming, like you said, this fast? And are there ADs going, oh, man, I missed this. I could have had this.
Maybe. I don't know that other ADs think that way, and I don't know. You'd have to give me a specific example if you think another coach is afraid, because I don't sense that.
Narduzzi called him out.
Doesn't mean he's afraid.
Okay.
I don't know if you know Pat Narduzzi. Pat Narduzzi ain't afraid of anybody. Okay. So I'm not going down that road with you.
That's true.
Maybe it bothers them because it was it was non-traditional, maybe unconventional, but I don't think anybody's afraid. I mean, you don't really get in this business as a coach if you're afraid.
Right.
But maybe unconventional, maybe calling out the differences. But I've used this example a lot. There are a lot of different ways to do it. He might have done it on a bigger scale in terms of more players coming in, but we all know the stories from over the years of him, coach calling the guy in and saying, hey, look, I'm going to tell you, you always have a place here. You'll always be on scholarship here. But, just so you know, you're not going to play. Now, I don't care if everybody at your position, gets hurt. We're going to go recruit somebody from the Sigma Nu House. I'm not Greek, so I don't know, whatever a fraternity is. And we're going to pull somebody up there in the intramural team. We're going to play them before we play you. But you can stay. And of course they transfer, right? So in some ways, I thought this was a little more straightforward. And then he has later said he did it as a challenge because I think someone who has achieved at the level that he has, he wants to be around people who will look him in the eye and say, hey, you know what? You're wrong about me. I'm going to show you I belong here. And, so there's some of both of it. And maybe some coaches had their sensibilities offended by it, but he who is without sin running off a player casts the first stone. And nobody's going to be reaching for a rock in coaching. I can guarantee you that.
Is this a new era in college football? Can this be replicated by other teams, or is this unique to Deion Sanders?
Well, there are others that have had success. Lincoln Riley, not on this scale. Lincoln Riley had pretty good success bringing in a whole bunch of new guys at USC last year. So I think this is going to be more the norm, but you've got to have a really good handle on your program to make it work, because when guys transfer, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. It doesn't mean they're bad people or something, but something has gone awry. Playing time, coach change, something has gone awry to open the door for them to transfer. So to have the grip on your program and on the culture that you want to build and your expectations to make that work takes a lot of talent and a lot of commitment. And I think that, that Deion has shown that he has that.
Do you think that
But let me get her. She's been waiting.
Thank you. Obviously, this is clearly a culture change, and a culture has come in here. Do you think that this is going to change the entire college football landscape culture?
You mean in terms of attracting transfers, or just the way?
No, just the way that we're seeing just everything blowing up on a just national stage here with this team.
Well, the number one thing you have is his charisma. I mean, in terms of that. People already know him, right? I mean, Lincoln Riley, people knew because he was a coach. So when he came in, it was kind of a big deal. But Deion Sanders, World Series, Super Bowl, Florida State, I mean, you name it. I mean, he, for that generation, there were like two guys, Deion, Bo Jackson. Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson, that's it. And so there's such a recognition there that I think it's very compelling to people. So that part of it, I think, will be very hard to replicate. And also, you can't just be a star athlete and say, hey, I'm going to go do what Deion Sanders did, because he just also happens to be a terrific coach. I mean, he proved that at Jackson State, and I think he's proving it right now, not only by his leadership, but he's put together a really good staff, too. They've got a really good staff.
Rece, you've been covering college football on a national scale for a while. How does Shedeur Sanders match up to other quarterbacks you covered and just the overall talent of this roster?
Outside, on the edges, they're really, really good. I mean, I still think, in all honesty, I hope I don't get in trouble, because I ate lunch with the defensive line yesterday, and I love those kids. They probably need to get some more size, a little more depth on both lines of scrimmage. Outside, they're really good. I mean, Travis Hunter's as good players as you'll find. Shedeur is really, really talented. I think the thing that I admire most about him is his poise. I mean, he's completed more passes under pressure than any other Power 5 quarterback, and by a significant margin. So he's gotten hit, and he's been pressured a lot, and he's still been able to make plays. And they have, I saw one coach said, their talent along with his poise, they erase third and long. So maybe they have a hard time sometimes, maybe they throw an incomplete pass, maybe a run gets stuffed, whatever it might be, but they can erase third and long. And that's a gift. And I think certainly he is acquitting himself well, and probably moving up on draft boards whenever that time comes for him.
Rece, you guys have your staples that you go to. Obviously, Columbus, Tuscaloosa last week, I know, which means a great deal to you. But when you get to come to a place like this, where the game hasn't been since 1996, what does that mean for you guys as the cast when you're able to come and see the fans get excited about this being here, which is a rarity here?
It's great because I think those are my favorite shows, when we go to a place either that we've never been before or a place where we haven't been in a long time, especially if they're winning and if there's an excitement surrounding the program as there is here. People, they come out, they make noise, they react. We try to tap into that energy. We try to touch their traditions, and we're certainly going to do that tomorrow. Wait till we see what we've got cooked up tomorrow. But it's a lot of fun. I still say my favorite show that I've done was at Washington State. First time we'd ever been there, that for 15 years we sent that flag to every show. And when we went there, it was sort of cathartic for them. And I don't know, I have the best job in television. There's no better job than hosting College Gameday in all of television. And I don't know that I'll ever do a show that was more fun than that one.
What does it mean to put this game, the Rocky Mountain Showdown, on this kind of scale? And I'm sure Chris has talked about a little bit about the history of growing up watching this game. It really isn't a rivalry that's really talked about nationally, but now it's on this kind of stage. What do you think it can do for the rivalry here?
Well, Colorado State needs to hold up its end of the deal, because I would be disingenuous if I said we're here because of the rivalry. We're here because of the story of Colorado. That's something that we always try to do on College Gameday, is wherever the game is, no matter who's broadcasting the game, we go to the best story of the week or of the year. This has been, as I said earlier, the story of the early part of the season. That's why we're here. For the rivalry to get on the stage, Colorado State's going to have to hold up its end of the bargain a little bit, but I don't want to give away too much, but you guys probably know, typically ranked versus unranked in this series historically has favored the unranked. So, that would be quite the shocker, I think, but for it to get that type of attention, Colorado State's going to have to play well Saturday night.
What were your thoughts on Jay Norvell's comments yesterday, somewhat making things a little bit personal, taking shots at Coach Prime?
I didn't take it that way. When you're talking to the media in a news conference as a head coach, you're either talking to the media, you're talking to your fans, or you're talking to your players. Jay Norvell, who I know was not talking to anyone at Colorado. I know he said he didn't care if they heard it in Boulder. Who do you think he was talking to? His players. He's talking to his players. We're not afraid. We're going in there. We're not intimidated by all the attention they get, or by the force of his personality, or by the talent of Travis Hunter or Shedeur Sanders. We're not intimidated by any of that. We're going to play, and we're going to do our thing. He's talking to his players. Now, absolutely Colorado should respond the way they did and use it and all of that stuff. That's part of the game. But I didn't think for a second, you guys probably know Jay Norvell better than I do, but that's not really in his wheelhouse. He's talking to his players. He wasn't trying to take a shot. And I'm sorry to diffuse all the fun saying that. That's what I thought.
Thanks, Rece.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rece.
You bet.